Well, probably the continuity. We haven't had a normal fall. The players haven't got together. Done tailgating, go to the football games together. So you haven't quite got to build the culture. Like you would like to. And then there's just been constant interruptions. It's very rare that we've had a full team together. Whether maybe somebody's been in isolation or close contact. So that's been the issue, is just there hasn't been continuity. I've had to quarantine, so we didn't get much done the month of September. We were never together. So it's been sporadic, but we're doing the best we can. Yeah, so 9 of the 17 are new, so over half is new, which is not real common for a 4-year team to have over half of a new squad, but that's what we tried to do, was probably get more athletic. This is the most athletic team I've had in my 4 years at Minot State. So, and we have probably the best depth also that I've had at my 4 years. So being more athletic, more depth, I think we can do some things there, such as maybe push the ball more in transition, maybe put a little more pressure on people, and just come at people in waves. So I like our depth, the way we get up and down the floor, and that's going to be different than our first 3 years. Yeah, so Mariah Payne was probably a focal point last year. Matter of fact, probably for the first time in my 4 years here, that we even had to, maybe what if they chase her? What if they blew a box and one where they put somebody just to guard her and face guard her? So for the first time, we had to put in an offense just in case of that, where this year, the neat thing is I'm not going to put that in because that's not going to happen. They're not going to chase anybody, because every night, in and out, every single night, we probably will have a different leading scorer. So we have great balance, and that's the thing that you don't know who's going to be our leading scorer every night. So we got great balance. We're going to come at people. We can go really deep this year. So there's a lot of players that can score, and that's what I like, is the great balance that we're going to bring this year. What's typical of my teams in all my years, in all 33 years, is we're kind of a late blooming team. We go on runs in January, February, because we're very patient to put things in. We usually don't have out of bounds plays in until January. Now that's with an October start. So, we like to just go real slow and try to do a few things, but do them well. And now the pressure's on, where, you step right into conference. There's no non-conference. There's no scrimmaging. There's no, all those preseason type games to prepare for the conference slate. So that's going to be a little different for us, that we got to hit the ground running right away in January. We do have the 2 games against Southwest State out of Minnesota, which don't count in the standings. They're in the Southern Division, but then after that it's all Northern Conference games, and it's a really tough beginning. We start off Duluth. Duluth just come out as the number 18 team in the nation. We face the top 2 teams in the North probably going into it, St. Cloud State and Duluth. So it's going to be a really difficult start. Southwest State's got everything back. They're really good. So our first 6 games are nasty. And, so we're just going to, like I said, we're going to have to hit the ground running, and we won't have quite the time to, be slow and just gradually get things in. We're going to have quite a bit in right off the start.
All right. Thanks for your time, Handle.
I think it's really different, because this time when I went home, usually I'd be able to get into my own gym back home and work out and do that sort of stuff. But everything was locked down when I got home, so I kind of missed that usual workouts and things that I would get. And then coming back to here again, we've kind of been really restricted with things. And not only am I kind of worried about what's happening over here, but also what's happening at home, and luckily they've kind of got it under control, so that hasn't really been on my mind as much. But yeah, it's been a huge adjustment. Obviously season's been pushed back. We weren't sure for a little bit if we'd even have a season or what that would look like, and then we've had so many people quarantining and all of these different rules and things change, so adjusting to things has been really different. But I think it's also made it easier that there's so many of us in that same boat. So we've been able to kind of lean on each other and do the things that you'd normally do with a team, but I guess get through to it, and finally now we are going to hopefully have a season. We always knew that with Mariah leaving that in a way some of us would have to step up. Same as if you have a player out or play leaving that's with rebounding and things like that. I don't think necessarily it's myself that feels the pressure. I think now it's more to lead, to make sure that we have everyone scoring. So rather than me matching up to what Mariah was having, a game having everyone, if everyone gets a couple more points, then that kind of makes up for that. And I think this team we have a really good chance to have multiple people in those double digits. each game, which will hopefully make up for the loss that we do have with Mariah because she was such a big impact player. But I think we have a lot of individuals that can kind of help to contribute to that. Maybe not in the same way each week, but like little bits and pieces, and the team as a whole, I think, will make up for that, which is really nice. Yeah, well, starting with like the newcomers that you said, obviously we have Amber Savan, who came from Bismarck, and she was the leading scorer in JUCO. And so we knew that she was going to be a player that would come in and have an impact. She knows the game really well. She's come in with Sydney, who was also with her, which kind of helps too, having someone that you've played with before. We've got a really good shooting team. A lot of our players can, shoot beyond the arc, which is really nice. And then we have lots of people that have improved. Anna Counts is one of them as a big. She's really stepped up and she's put the work in over the summer, and you can really notice that in her game and her finishing and things like that. But yeah, I think all around we have girls that can score on offense, but also put in the work on defense. And so I think that really kind of makes up for having those kind of losses and things like that for players that have gone.
Yeah, we were we were expecting a schedule, but we didn't realize that it would be like shortened. Obviously, we didn't really know what was going to happen this year with COVID and everything, but we were really excited when we found out that we were able to play as many games as we were. But we're just excited that our first home game, or our first games are home, and we're just ready to be back on the basketball court. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because we play the same team twice in a weekend now, so we won't have to scout two different teams. It will kind of get like, if we win the first night, they kind of get a second chance at us the next night, or if it's the other way around, we get to redeem ourselves. And kind of in that sense, we get to focus mainly on just one team. So I think it'll be very interesting, but I think it'll be different in a good way where we can just focus on one team and not have to focus on both teams during the week. Instead, we can just focus on one. Yeah, I'm just trying to keep my confidence up. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with the season, so I'm just trying to keep like a positive attitude and trying to say like, if we're going to have a season, like I want to keep that mentality of like being the leading rebounder and helping on the boards. But we do have a lot of different people coming in this year, so I think that with more people, we're going to have a lot more depth. So it'll kind of relieve some relieve the pressure, yes. Relieve some pressure that a lot of players had to deal with last year. So I think it'll be a lot easier this year, having more people come off the bench.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Usually I'm used to like getting into practice right away as soon as we get on campus, but this year we had limited hours for the longest time and stuff like that. So that was interesting to deal with, not really just getting into season. And then, of course, I don't know if I'm supposed to mention this, but on like Snapchat, I have all those memories of like game days and stuff that have already been happening this time last year, and we're still looking forward to our first game. So it's been challenging and interesting to see how different it is this year, but it really like proves something about our team that we're still like good with everything that's happening right now. Yeah, I really want to have a big impact on this team this year, since it's my last year before I go out, so I kind of want to just make a lasting impact. I think building on that percentage, making it higher, making more baskets will help our team score more points. We really just need to focus on being like one cohesive unit. I know we've had a couple quarantine periods that don't quite line up with everyone, so that's been interesting to deal with. So if we all can like work together, and then maybe if we all can just come together and own the defensive boards, own the offensive boards, basically just control the game from the start, then we'll have a good season.